So over the years, I've seen a lot of comments and people even coming up to me in person talking about what parts, what techniques, how do I get started into MOC making my own dioramas, my own ships, whatever it might be, your own creation outside of just general Lego sets. Like, where do you start? What do you buy to get started in that field? Sure, you can buy Lego sets, take them apart and start making something from there. But you get limited by those pieces in a set very quickly, especially when you're starting to build bigger things, a bigger diorama. So that's why I'm making this brand new 4-part series covering the best Lego pieces I personally think that you need to get started making MOCs. So this first video is going to be covering structural Lego pieces. In the future parts, we're going to be doing detail Lego pieces, specialty, as well as botanical. So once all those videos have been released, I'll create a playlist that you'll see down in the description below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you see all 4 parts as they get released. And also down in the description, you'll find links to all of the Lego pieces that I covered today. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first up is probably one of my favorite Lego pieces, which is the 16 by 16 stud brick plate. Now this is fairly new. It's been around for about a year or two, maybe a little bit more than that. It was first introduced with the Lego Art series. Lego needed a bigger brick plate to make these giant frames for the Lego Art series to put just studs on them. But man, these are far more useful than just putting Lego studs on them. I love these for elevation building, for structural integrity, because it not only is a brick and a plate high, but it also has Technic studs on the sides, all 4 sides actually, where if you have multiple of them, you can connect them together. And if you want to add even more stability and rigidity to these plates when you're connecting them together, you'll add a plate on the top as well as the bottom. And that is basically a foolproof way to have giant platforms that just won't shake, they won't wobble. You can build these up on base plates and they won't go anywhere. I have built 3 MOCs now, one of which I'm currently working on, which is my Geonosis MOC with these brick plates, and I can tell you they literally saved my life. I love these so much more than just using traditional plates, but we're going to talk about plates here in just a second. But this is by far my favorite piece. Well done, Lego. This is so useful, and it's coming out in a lot of different colors. It originally just came out in olive green as well as black. A lot of people ask where the olive green one comes from. It actually was introduced in the Colosseum Lego set. I don't know if it's popped up in more sets since then. I most recently saw this in white in the Ninjago sets. I think they actually just released it in light nougat in the Great Wave set, so it's definitely coming out in more colors. I don't particularly think you need this in a lot of colors, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. Normally, I'm just using this as an underlayer for my creations, meaning that I'll add plates and whatever detailed pieces, which we'll cover in a future episode, on top of these. This is not like something I'm laying down and then that's like the finished product. So I would suggest neutral colors, so that being black, olive green. I wouldn't suggest the lighter colors like white or light nougat, because that will show through the Lego pieces. Believe it or not, between those cracks you can sometimes see the color of underlying Lego pieces, especially if you have light going on them directly. So I recommend the darker colors. Again, all those links will be down in the description. All right, my next piece is this, the 2x2x3 brick. I have been using this for so many years, maybe the last 10 years. It's been around for a while, and a lot of people forget that this brick exists. This is an easy way to save yourself on buying tons and tons of regular bricks. You can usually elevate just small platforms or other bricks with these. I find them very useful for when you're building mountains or anything where you need to fill in gaps. This is so useful, and it's actually a really cheap Lego piece, much cheaper than buying, say, 3 separate 2x2 bricks. This is one that a lot of people forget about, and I highly recommend it. So this might be a little controversial, but I think the best regular Lego brick is the 2x6. You probably have heard of the famous Lego 2x4 brick, which is very iconic, especially in the Lego Star Wars community, especially if you have dark gray 2x4s. But I find the 2x6 to be superior in so many different ways. So first off, the cost between a 2x4 and a 2x6 is very insignificant. It would actually cost more to buy a 2x2 and a 2x4 together than it would be just to buy a separate 2x6 brick. So I've actually been using the 2x6 for the last 3 MOCs, so that would be Darrow, the Jedi Temple, as well as Geonosis. This thing is just amazing. I like the 2x6 in particular because I can space out the bricks further and not have to use as many many. So that way you're not paying for more brick than is actually necessary to create the elevation that you need. So if you need filler brick, if you need to build up a landscape, or if you just need good structural integrity like I used in the Jedi Temple, the 2x6 is the superior brick. Let me know if you disagree down in the comments below. All right, guys, so I just want to take a second and let you guys know that I just picked up 5 more LEGO Star Wars 501st Battle Packs, as well as a sealed brand new ATTE Walker. And all 6 of these LEGO Star Wars sets are going to be giving away with our sponsor, Whatnot, on my own Whatnot stream. So that's right, no strings attached. I'm giving away all 6 of these LEGO Star Wars sets during my Whatnot stream, which is this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it won't be just giveaways. I'll be selling my own LEGO Star Wars figures as well as sets. So if you're interested in getting some really awesome LEGO Star Wars figures that you've been wanting for a long time, I've got figures going all the way back to 2011, 2010, some of the best eras of LEGO Star Wars. So down in the description, you guys, you'll find 2 different links. The first of which is to sign up on Whatnot, and you'll get a free $10 credit, so you can put that towards my own LEGO Star Wars figures that I'll be selling, as well as a link to the actual stream, which will be, again, this Saturday at 6 p.m. So thanks again to Whatnot for making this possible, sponsoring the video, and I can't wait to see you guys during my Whatnot stream this Saturday. I have so many LEGO Star Wars figures, I think over 200 to sell, so it's going to be crazy. I'll see you guys there, and without ado, let's get back to the video. Next up is my favorite new plate. It's somewhat new. It's been around for a little bit now. I feel like LEGO redesigned it or something, but it's the 8x16 plate. They're not cheap. They sometimes cost $1 a piece. Maybe you can get them for like 80 cents on Bricklink. They're really pretty expensive, but hear me out. This is actually more cost effective than you would realize them to be. Mainly because if you're using smaller plates, say like a 4x4 or a 6x6 or a 4x6, you have all these different size plates, especially if you're laying them flat down and you're just trying to cover a surface. Say on the 16x16 brick plate, you'll end up using other LEGO pieces to match the gap so there won't be any flexing. And once you add in all the extra plates that go underneath, multiple different sizes, the cost of just one 8x16, where you only really need to use 1, 2, 3 max plates underneath to elevate it and have proper support on all of the edges, is far cheaper than having those multiple plates in so many different pieces, and it feels like you're just creating a maze. So I recommend the 8x16 because it'll simplify your life. Now, I still have some other recommendations of plates that we'll talk about here in a second, but if you're starting off, I recommend at least picking up 10 of these. You'll see what I mean very quickly once you start utilizing them in MOCs. They're so wonderful for landscape work. I love them to death. And you can also use them for rock work. I've most recently used them in Geonosis to build up snot rock work. I'm using these in multiple different ways, and they're so versatile. Now, I'm sure some of you out there will probably wonder, why aren't you using the 16x16 plate? This is what a lot of MOC builders use. I see this very common. I like the 16x16, but personally, I really do think the combination of the 16x16 brick plate with the 8x16 is a superior combination because there's more versatility by using the plate that's half the size. Sure, it's more cost effective to get 1 of these than 2 of these, but the versatility you'll get out of this is superior than just using 1 of these. Next up is such a useful plate, the 2x12. Oh my God. This thing is a lifesaver, especially when you're laying down multiple plates like this. These things coming in here, supporting other plates is so useful, but they're not just useful for that. If you're trying to extend out things, like you can use this 2x12 in so many ways. I'm sure there's certainly doubters out there thinking that this is not a useful piece. Have it around, have it in your collection. You'll be so surprised by how useful they are in just so many random scenarios. So next, I don't have one particular smaller plate that I recommend. I find just having a variety of these bigger versions to be pretty useful in a lot of different scenarios. So I have a 6x6 here, I got a 6x8 and a 6x10. So any plate 6x is pretty solid. Sometimes these can be pretty cheap. You can also find them on the Lego Pick-a-Brick wall in Lego retail stores. I really hesitate to recommend the Lego Pick-a-Brick wall that you'll find in Lego stores because these bigger plates fill up a cup very quickly, and the overall value that you're paying, I think it's like $16 for a large cup. Even if you fit these like in a smart way, it still is probably more than what you would pay just to buy them separately on Pick-a-Brick or Bricklink. So just like with the 2x12 plate, I don't have a great example for exactly how every single one of these can be utilized. I just find that I'll randomly gravitate to them if I'm building up some landscape work, if I need to build a roof on a building, or if I want to do some snot work and put some detail on a wall. These different sizes come in very handy. Plus, again, they're more cheaper than say the 8x16. So if you don't want to buy that piece, this is a great starting point. However, I still recommend the 8x16 first. I think that's the superior plate, but these are still very useful and absolutely have a place in a MOC builder's arsenal of Lego elements. So the last Lego structural element I recommend is this, the 1x6x5 panel. It looks like a brick, but it's considered a panel because of how it indents right here. On one side, it looks pretty much like a regular Lego brick, but on the other, it has the indentation, and that's what makes it a panel. Very strange logic, but that's just how the Lego system can be. I have found these to be so useful in a variety of ways, mainly because they come in so many different colors, which is really nice. I use them in Mandalore in the translucent blue color as windows. More recently, I've used these bigger panel pieces on Geonosis to cover up the sides, or in Daro when I was building like the Imperial base, I found these to fill in gaps and areas without having to use so many different pieces. And I'd say the biggest advantage with the panel is that you're saving so much money using this instead of 5 separate 1x6 bricks stacked on top of each other. But also having the panel side is actually super nice. You can use this in a detailed way if you want to create a little bit more dynamic in hallways or different buildings. I've seen people use this panel in very unique ways, and I think it's so versatile. I highly recommend getting this in a couple different colors. I believe I have this panel piece in 7 different colors because I continue to use it in so many ways. So the last thing I just want to mention is pretty much all the elements that I recommended today are pretty sizable. None of which I would recommend, again, getting from the Lego store. I feel like the best resources for bigger Lego pieces is gonna be going through Lego's own Pick-a-Brick online. Yes, they're very expensive, but they're brand new parts and it's free shipping. Don't forget about the free shipping through Lego. That can save so much money, especially if you're going on Bricklink, which is the other resource I recommend. If you're going on Bricklink and you're in the United States and you want like 1,000 of a certain plate from Germany, well, guess what? That's like $50 in shipping. And so the cost difference sometimes can be cheaper going with Lego, getting that free shipping. And yes, you'll be paying a much higher cost per piece on Lego's Pick-a-Brick, but because of the shipping cost savings, it usually is a better deal, especially when we're talking about new Lego elements. And of course, there is the tried and true Bricklink. Also, I know there's Brickowl too, but I don't really know anybody who's Brickowl. So I really only recommend Pick-a-Brick and Bricklink to buy Lego elements. I don't recommend buying Lego sets, parting them out, figuring it out. That's just a waste of time. Don't do that. Buy through Bricklink, buy through Pick-a-Brick. Those are the best ways I have found over the years to buy bulk amount of Lego pieces, or if you just need a few. With Bricklink in particular, make sure you're shopping through stores that are in your own country. Otherwise, you will, especially if you're buying a lot of Lego elements at once, will be paying pretty high shipping costs. Sometimes it can be cheap depending on the country that you're buying from. I know especially if you live in Europe and you're trying to get pieces from America, say, oh my gosh, the import fees get so high so fast that it's absolutely not worth it. All right, so that'll wrap up this first part on structural Lego elements. Don't forget that I have 3 other parts about detail, specialty, and botanical Lego pieces coming out very soon, if not already released. So make sure you check out that playlist once it becomes available down in the description below. And if you're watching this while these videos are coming out, hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks again to Whatnot for sponsoring this video. Hope you guys have a great, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.